Mike McDaniel goes on the Pat McAfee show, and a pretty good wide receiver might become available. So let's talk about this. What is up, Fin fans? Later tonight, I will be doing my usual recap of the combine, some of the hot takes, yada yada blah blah, going over the 40-yard dashes if Dolphins met with anyone. I think today's like offensive linemen and defensive players. I know one of the top linebackers was talking about how great it was meeting with the Dolphins, which is a breath of fresh air coming from this organization. But I'll make that video later tonight, probably around like 10, 11 o'clock. That'll come out. But today, Mike McDaniel went on Pat McAfee, and you can go to their YouTube channel, watch the entire episode. I'm not going to react to the entire episode because it's going to then make this video probably like an hour and a half video, and I know, I don't say all of you, but I got imagine you don't want to sit here for an hour and a half watching me react to something that you could probably watch on your own. But we are going to watch clips. I went on his Twitter account, and he does have a few segments. We're going to watch those. But first and foremost, I have to shout out a new member, and Greg Taylor. Thank you so much, brother, for joining the membership. Again, you guys never feel like you need to join the membership, but when you do, it helps me drastically. Available to build up the studio. I'm actually building a studio in my basement that I'm in the process of. So I'm moving down there so I can be loud and not worry about the baby who's sleeping in the next room, all that good stuff. So thank you guys so much for supporting the channel by joining the membership and the Patreon. One other thing before we jump into the wide receiver. One of you guys in the comment section, I obviously butchered a ton of names talking about prospects that met with the Dolphins. And this one is funny, and I'm going to get to comment of the day first, right? And this comes from Kevin, right? I'm going to say his first name first. And he says, "Keep up with messing up those names, dogs. Laughing. It's hilarious. Try mine. Cheers, man." And this is why I didn't say his last name. His last name, I'm going to try. Mogarble? Kevin McGarble. I probably messed your name up. But I appreciate these types of comments because they understand that me and my situation, I am making these videos, and however many people are going to see it, I'm going to mess up names, especially some like really, really like crazy last names. It doesn't help that I'm also dyslexic. So trying to like read these names, even if I had a hard time pronouncing names to begin with, being dyslexic makes it hard. And I don't really watch college football as much as I used to. I know the Ohio State wide receiver, it would have been a first round, maybe top 5 pick if he would have came out last year. But the amount of stuff I do on this channel, putting about 5 videos a week during the season, I don't have enough time, especially having a baby and everything, to watch college football. So a lot of these top-notch prospects I don't notice or I don't really study up on until, the week after free agency when I start doing my prospect videos. That's when I'll start getting names down because like I actually pride myself on being able to pronounce Tua Tagovailoa. People still call him Tagovailoa. It's not pronounced Tagovailoa. It's Tagovailoa. What is it? Sam McGuavin. I was one of the first to get his name right. So I appreciate everyone who's laughing along with me, and the people who get mad need to take a deep breath. And life's not that serious. It's not that serious. But yeah, wanted to talk about that. The other thing I want to talk about came out. Adam Schefter broke this news today at 10:30 in the morning. He says Cowboys are likely to release Amari Cooper by the start of the new league year, the 16th. Cooper's due $20 million in fully guaranteed money on the 5th day of the new league year, which would be the 21st, that Monday, March 20th. So I guess they're counting the 16th as the day. So that's Sunday. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, yeah, go after Amari Cooper. I would love to have Amari Cooper on the Dolphins with Waddle. I have a list, and again, I'm gonna make the video next week. I think Monday or Tuesday. I'm gonna do my finally gonna do my free agency video the week before free agency. But I had a list here of potential free agents that I would like the Dolphins to target. Kind of looked at the money that they might ask for. And Amari Cooper wasn't on there because Amari Cooper we'd have to trade for, and I don't have any receivers, any offensive linemen, any players on here in a trade. I might do that in its own video, who the Dolphins can trade for. But if he gets released, he goes to the top of my list of who I'd want. Obviously, if you've heard me talk about this and have watched me on other channels, I'll give you a little spoiler. Ryan Jensen is the number one guy on my list that I want the Dolphins to go after, the center from the Bucs. If they release Amari Cooper, he becomes my number two. He's still young, and he's super productive, and I think he would do fantastic with Tua. Another Alabama alum playing with Tua, I absolutely love that. So if Amari Cooper does get released by the Cowboys, because I don't see anybody trading for him, especially with that $20 million guaranteed, Dolphins go after him. So that is the little tidbits that I want to give you before we jumped into all of these clips of Mike McDaniel on Pat McAfee show. And I'm excited because I know for a fact Pat McAfee and his show are fantastic. He does have a Dolphin fan in the booth that helps him, so I'm pretty sure he's going to ask him a few questions. But let's play this. Let me pop it up right here, slide over, and let's see what happens on the Pat McAfee show.
We obviously did not know of your existence, I think, as a football world for a long time. And that's because the Shanahans, the McVays, this young crew that you ran around with was getting all the hype. And then when your name kind of leaked into the head coaching circles, I think the Miami fans are super pumped. Mm-hmm. Somebody new, somebody young, somebody fresh coming in there with an offensive mind. At what point did you know, like, okay, it's my time to become a head coach now? Did it come out of nowhere for you like it did for the rest of us?
To a degree... That's layered. Yes and no. So it's always been on my mind because I knew in one way, shape, or form, if I got the op, the worst thing in the world would be to not be ready for it. Mm-hmm. So that would be something I wouldn't be able to live with.
Got it.
And before, you're ambitious to do it, and then guys that you're working with start getting them. And so it was just important to me to pay attention to what was in front of me. So, like, to witness it, because there's a lot of times you can just get caught up in your own job and your own stuff, and you have to do a good job to progress in your career. So you're focused on your job, but I was just doing my job while also paying attention, putting myself in their shoes. But that goes over time. Unless I want to go crazy and think about the wrong stuff, that you go, it's hard enough if you think about what you can't control for one day. That can set you twisted. If I'm worried about what I can't control over 8 years, I will be absolutely insane.
Yeah, and that's not you.
And so that at some point, I just stopped thinking about it.
What was your job with the Niners? Run control. What does that mean? You just
I started as, I think, a run game specialist.
It's a great title.
Right.
Hey, by the way, great run game to have a great see the run game specialist over there.
No, I actually picked titles off of, like, in retrospect, whatever does well, then I jump on that title.
Smart.
It's just you got to know people in PR and handle, some bookkeeping. But then I was run game coordinator, then I was offensive coordinator. And in that process, you're trying to win games, you're involved in some playoff runs, all these things. And so then I wasn't thinking about being a head coach at all, although I was preparing for it as to answer the question in a very long, I hope this is a long show because
you got nothing but time.
Yeah.
Hey, listen here, we don't give a fuck. Nope. You can say whatever you want, however you want, whenever you want. I would like to learn a lot about you too, so I love more answers than less.
Dude, let's deep dive.
Love it. Also, you guys know I don't curse on the channel, but they do curse on Pat McAfee. So be prepared for that. There's going to be some cursing from these clips, but he's so laid back. It's such a different atmosphere than what we are used to. From that first clip I watched about him wanting to be a head coach and him, when did he's always been prepared, and the jokes about, the run game was good, so I kind of jumped. It's just refreshing to see a different side to these types of things. Let's pull up another clip here.
Whenever you said immediately upon meeting Tua, it felt like he was a guy who is definitely better when you empower him and let him know that he's a guy. For the last 2 years, I've been on this show screaming like the mental toughness of what Tua has had to go through these last couple of years. Now, there's a lot of other litigation and accusations happening within the building that will all get settled and everything like that. But I think this is the first time we've heard anybody say, hey, Tua's a guy and we want him to be a guy. At what point did you realize, like, hey, this is how we're going to operate with the human that is Tua, as opposed to just a player? And do you think that's like the modern new school thinking, like, hey, this is a human first as opposed to just a player?
Yeah, I think one's the exception, one's the rule. I think the exception is probably making people prove to you that they're good enough. I think that's kind of the exception.
Yeah.
I think for the most part, the rule is people need support, especially now with all the spheres. We're making the most money we're making in the industry collectively, right?
Yes.
Because there's more access, there's more voices, there's narratives set by, hey, I think this, blah. And you have to answer for that. So that pull down, just on a human psyche, there's a ton of pressure. I know stories of players after a game walking into the locker room and immediately going to Twitter. So the stuff that players are wearing on a day-to-day basis, the pressure has evolved a little bit. And then you go through the psychological scope of scrolling stuff, search your name or something, and there's 15 good things and 3 terrible things, and how people's mind might not even see it. So all of these factors, to me, I think people need assets. People need visions set sometimes. There are, I don't know the percentage exception to the rule, but like I could tell, dude, you're a top 10 draft pick. This just in, you want to be good.
Breaking!
And you feel that other people are like, yo, be good.
Yeah.
And so, like, you got to put yourself in people's shoes and, like, identify with that. Wow, that must be tough. Okay, you take in all this stuff, and like, all I know about the kid is that he's genuine as all get out. He's a hard worker, and he has certain talents that are unique to the position. And I see all this stuff that I can from the vision of, okay, we can work with. He's in the club, and oh wow, he's been doing. What if he's confident while being in the club? The prerequisite club of the talent that you need to play the position and being a top starter of the NFL. He's in the club, so then where can we take him from there? That's all I see my job as, and all that other stuff is, I don't know, juggling nonsense. Like I'm a coach, so I need to coach him.
Yeah, absolutely love what he just said there. I'm gonna try to go back in my brain, especially when he talks about. It's different now. There's a lot of OG Dolphin fans that I comment, they're subscribers on Twitter, that I see where they're coming from. Oh, well, you're coddling these players, you're holding their hands, yada, yada, blah, blah, blah. It's a different world now, and it's a different mentality now. You see Calvin Ridley, people think he quit on his team. Mental health is a very important thing, not only to human beings, but to sports athletes who, like he said, he said that they go right into the locker room, they go on Twitter, and they might have 15 good comments and see 3 horrible ones, and they're going to focus on that. I used to be like that. I go through the comment section. Like I told you guys, I constantly go through the comment section and read your guys' comments, try my best to interact with you. I love every minute of it, and there will be guys who curse at me. There'll be guys who call me stupid, dumb, I don't know what I'm talking about, I should quit, da-da-da. There's about 5% of that, and there's 95% of you guys telling me how much you love what I do. Keep doing it. I make your lives, their day better, da-da-da. And that 5% used to just stick. and would just eat at me all day. That just like, what, why? Like, what? So I see where he's coming from with that. And then I loved what he talked about, that he's in the club, right? Tua Tagovailoa is in the club. Essentially, he has the physical attributes to be a starting quarterback in the NFL. He is in the club. It's about taking what he has and making it better to make him elite, to make him that top 10, top 15 starter in the league. And I agree with Mike McDaniel, because he does have those attributes. We've seen it. And that's my thing, and I've said it, and it's probably going to get annoying at nauseum that I keep saying this. He's inconsistent. We've seen him make throws. We've seen him make 50, 55, 56-yard throws. We've seen him make outs, ins, under pressure, not under pressure. Great throws where we're like, that's the Tua we need on a consistent basis. But then he doesn't do it. So what Mike McDaniel is talking about is he has it. It just, he has to be coached. Also, he has to have somebody who wants him. Somebody who, like, is going to, this is what you need. I've watched you play, and this is what you're good at. And we're going to help you build off of that. And we're going to put the things around you to continue for you to be in that space. He didn't have that before. Now, if they give him all those things, say they bring in Amari Cooper, Jalen Waddle, they bring in, what was his name? Ryan Jensen. And all of a sudden he's still doing the same thing. Well, then it's him. And it's time to move on. But I love what he said there. Let's go to another clip here. This one's about 1:29.
What are you going to do to change and make Tua better? Have you gotten into that? This is very early in the whole process, and you're shaking hands, kissing babies right now, and you're a 0-win head coach that everybody loves.
0 wins.
0 win. But what are you thinking about that for Tua? How do you make him better?
We're going to start with scoring more points than the opponent.
Wow!
Holy shit.
Oh, no.
You are changing the game.
Changing the game
Yeah.
through math.
Yeah,
No, I think there's... I was just so fortunate in my career to be around the process of how I look at things with the empowerment of the right teachers, that I look backwards, forwards, okay? What things do I see that are really awesome about his game on tape, even though we're at...
Hey, he's accurate as hey.
Boom!
He,
That's what I was just about to say.
Oh, I didn't know. I was just you were leading me. That's how you should do this. Maybe
Dude,
think about it in the future.
dude.
But he's accurate.
Or we should just spend the time finishing each other's
Sentences.
Oh, okay.
Hey, have we known each other for?
Our whole lives.
Oh my God.
You tell.
Me.
Wow.
Weird.
Dude.
Whoa.
Seems
what
like
a-
you guys just became.
Dude.
Wow, this is fucking weird, AJ.
Bro.
Hey, this is.
Did we swap skins?
Wow, we learned a lot about yours, by the way. I mean,
Yeah.
I see where he was going with that. A lot of, he is. That's Tua's strong suits. Oh my God. You got to go watch the whole episode. I'm going to go watch the whole thing after I'm done recording and uploading this. I'm going to link it below. Pat McAfee, if you watch this, we have to do something together. You're hilarious. But he built off of his strengths. I just said that before, so I'm at the point now where I'm just laughing over that interaction. He's incredibly accurate. Incredibly accurate. Oh, but the Tennessee game, dog. Wow. He had one game where he was off. I swear, the people who take, how many games did he play this year? He missed 5, 12 games. He played 12 games this year. And you pick one game to prove a point that he's not accurate. It just makes no sense to me, the sample size that you're going to go off of. Because if that's the case, I could prove to you that Justin Herbert sucks. And I'll bring up the Texans game, and I'll bring up the Denver Broncos game, and I'll bring up the Dallas Cowboys game, and I'll bring up the Baltimore Ravens game. He had 4 horrible games last year. So if we're going to go off of the Tennessee Titan game that he is inaccurate, then I'll bring up these 4 and say, well, there you go. Justin Herbert sucks. He's absolutely horrible. Should have been Rookie of the Year last year. Hear how dumb that sounds? Tua's very accurate. He's extremely accurate. This next clip is about 3 minutes long. Let me pop it up this time.
I find a grave importance and responsibility, and like something that I truly take pride in that I think registers with players along the walks of my career, and that's like the window to play is small, and this is something they've been dreaming for their whole lives. And so whether it's 1 year, 2 years, however long, when you're in charge of coaching a player, like, understand that responsibility and what you owe to that player, because this is their dream. So I'll be damn sure that anything I can control, that I'm not giving them everything I have with brain and whatever, and they can feel that. And that was always like my thought process, like, yeah, okay, I could try to conform and do a style and talk like I've seen other people talk, but no, it doesn't matter. And I wouldn't even know how to be authentic. I'm just really going to try to make you as good as you can be, because I recognize, like, our relationship, case in point, Tua, like, how good can we take your play? That's all you're doing as a coach. And so do I want to sit here and predict? I'm not going to limit his expectations. I'm not going to put a ceiling on what he can be. I'm going to empower him and see how good we can get him, and be comfortable, him and I and the rest of the coaches and everything, that, you know what, this is as good as we can get. But what you don't want is, in hindsight, be like, man, bro, if we would have thought about it more, or like worked harder, or I would have cared, like, you know, you just don't have room for that. So that's
Not enough time. There's not enough time to do that in guys' careers in primes either.
Right. And like, that is a responsibility, man. This is their livelihood, and you can take that livelihood and put it into the wealth for the rest of your life for your family, or you can make it generational wealth, like when you punt sick footballs, and then, you know,
Start talking in a microphone.
just like, hey, you guys want to hear me talk about punting? Was that the first show?
That was the first show, yeah. You guys want to hear me talk about punting? It did really well. You should have seen it. Nobody else is doing it. We've evolved a little bit. We get the ale conversations, stuff like that. But yeah, that was our niche. We really found it. But I think that whole thing about, like, caring about the player, they can feel it, right? Because they don't care about how much you know until they know how much you care. Like, that's the old, like, bullshit adage, but it's a real thing. I think especially with the modern athlete, the fact that the first thing you say about Tua is like, hey, I want Tua to know, like, I want him to be great. Like, immediately, I think Tua is going to be much more open to what you have to say. And you're coaching the players, you're not coaching a playbook. And I think that is something that does get lost.
Yeah. That segment right there, perfect. Absolutely perfect. Because he talks about the fact
I
that,
find a grave importance.
Excuse me, I'm talking here, Mike. He talks about, don't, like, to a 3,500 yards, da 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 blah blah blah. You're limiting, right? Don't put a cap on it. But the thing that he said that I love the most is, I don't want to waste their time. In the NFL, you have a finite amount of time. NFL stands for multiple things depending on your subject matter, but not for long, right? There's always somebody younger coming in every year trying to take your spot. So, and then injuries and all this stuff. So you have a finite amount of time in the NFL. And Mike McDaniel coming out and saying, I'm not here to waste your time. I'm pretty sure he'll say, and I hope you don't waste mine, essentially. Work. But I love that he says, I don't want to put cap on it. I'm not going to this and that. It's very interesting to see how Tua does with a different style of head coach, a younger, more understanding head coach. Again, I'm not saying Brian Flores was bad. Kid to do what he can do. But I'm very interested to see what he can do with Tua. It's going to be very interesting. This next clip is like 56 seconds. It'll be a short clip.
AJ's questions just keep me on tangents. I'm sorry.
Have you ever, this guy was a fucking meathead of all time, AJ. This
Yeah, dude. Yeah. This dude was a striker. He liked pictures of himself.
He sent that in.
they sent that to us. Look at his hand.
Check out the hands.
Dude, you played post You played post 2012. You were HD. What is going on here,
Yeah, well, I mean, those hands. Yeah, I don't know what happened.
dude?
These all get sent to the office. These are all
Yeah.
things that get sent to the office.
It looks like you went to tanning beds for a decade and just put your hands in.
That is potentially something that did.
Nope, only my hands.
I might start that.
Those are his actual hands, by the way.
Yeah. Wow.
There we go. Yeah, it's coming together, I think.
Striking fear into every time you shed a blocker. AJ's questions just keep me on tangents. I'm sorry.
All right, let's go to another one. This one seems like it's a good one.
By the way, from Canada, northeast or northwest Canada.
Didn't go to Yale. Worked at a shipyard for
Dolphin
15 years. We fucking need you, Mike.
The shipyard?
I'm 36 years old.
You're picking it.
So if you don't know what just happened there, the Dolphin fan who works for Pat McAfee says he works on a shipyard and then proceeds to go into "we need you." Essentially, us Dolphin fans need him as the head coach to turn it around. But the way he says it, Mike is just so quick that it makes it sound like he says that he needs him to help him in the shipyard.
Oh yeah.
Hey, Gumpy has a question for you actually in the back. He's been a diehard Dolphins fan his entire life, by the way. From Canada, northeast or northwest Canada.
Didn't go to Yale. Worked at a shipyard for 15 years. We fucking need you, Mike.
The shipyard?
I'm 36 years old.
You're picking it. I mean, I can will myself,
There
but
you
there's
go.
not.
Hey, we haven't won a playoff game since 2000, Mike.
Yeah.
If not now, then when?
No,
We need you.
no,
We need you bad,
You
pal.
say that, and that I think the second day I toured the facility, or like had a whole deal where I introduced myself to the people within the building, the people that worked at the stadium.
Equipment managers, ticket people.
Yeah, and this was my 7th franchise, and it was crazy because it was just overwhelming how these people, generally you don't have success and they're jaded or they're agenda based. There's just a bunch of people that were trying to do their jobs well, and then on top of that, they were, just looking at all these people that were accountable for the right reasons. And then I'm wrapping my head around all this, like, oh, they haven't won a playoff game in 22 years. And all these people are working this hard. Oh, and this fan base is thirsty. Mm-hmm. They're eager. Mm-hmm. Wow. Let's just, how awesome is that feeling to chase that first time you win a playoff game? Oh. What would be more valuable than that? Because not only would it be fulfilling, but the perspective and the appreciation, and I mean, I promise you that it's not going to, the team is going to know that and be well aware of that. And I think it's important to put yourself there and understand what you're doing for the days that you don't feel like doing stuff. But the 22 years is not lost. That is on the forefront of my mind, and I take. It's really cool to be embraced by some of or most whatever that of the fan base. It's really cool, and fully knowing that after 2 losses, I know I've been in this league 17 years. I know the deal, but right now I really honor and cherish that they're buying in. But that's all the pressure I'm putting on myself and the coaches, and we're all going to do it together, and the whole building's in concert because it's meaningful for so many different reasons, and it's quite possibly, I feel like I've won the lottery in that regard, because that's like my strongest professional ambition. It's right in front of me, so let's go see what I got.
Yeah, if you think that he's coming in here and not fully understanding and fully having a grasp on the idea of what he's gotten himself into, being that the Dolphins haven't won a playoff game in forever, It's a horrible assumption. But he has a big task ahead of him. Very big task ahead of him. 2 more clips, together about 3 minutes. So we're going to jump into this one.
I can't wait to see what you do with the Dolphins. Been 22 years. You got a guy, quarterback. Seems like you're empowering him. Can't wait to watch what you do in 305, pal.
Holy shit! I flipped this table over.
Are you giving motivational speeches in there whenever you're doing coaching and stuff like that? Or are you
Yeah.
Is that what do you? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Like before game, you're giving.
oh yeah. I think yes. I mean, you give speeches for sure. I think it's important to have a relationship with your audience, and it's just like talking to you and I are talking. Like that's the really cool part about coaching. You assess the atmosphere and what people need to hear, and then you're prepared to deliver a message, and it's case by case. Like, I'm not, for the sake of rah-rah, going to be rah-rah, but I do have an adrenaline, like, momentum gate about me that when I'm talking football that you guys don't really get to see. Like, if I was leading a meeting or conducting a speech to a team that had to do with an ultimate goal, it's like one of my favorite things in coaching, because there's like a message that you're able to, it's communicating just like a conversation to a group of people, and be able to have all of that content to one listener, which is every listener. It's adrenaline rush, bro.
That's why I always say, whenever people say, well, I don't know how you speak in front of everybody. It's like, well, each person only has 2 ears. You're only speaking to one person at a time. It just so happens to be they're all together. So I don't understand how anybody's scared to talk in front of a group at all. If you can have a conversation with one person, you can have a conversation with everybody, because everybody, you're literally just talking one-on-one.
That's exactly right. And when push comes to shove, like worst case scenario, just move your mouth and just see what comes out.
Well, you've done that a lot today, and everything has been great. We appreciate you for your time.
Mike McDaniel. That SOB. Yeah, go watch the full thing. Like I said, I'll link it below. I think he did about an hour, give or take. But go watch the whole thing. Mike McDaniel killed it. Pat McAfee. Mike McDaniel has been killing it when it comes to putting a staff together on the offense. Again, he didn't really touch defense much. Added 2 greats in Surtain and Madison. He's killing it with the PR aspect. Killing it with his interviews. Keep killing it, man. Now you got free agency. Like I said, coming up, starts the 14th is the tampering period. 16th is when free agency starts at 4 p.m. Killing it. Absolutely killing it. Killing free agency. Killing the draft. Get this team ready. Start winning. And my man, you'll have the fan base. You'll have them. Because you have them right now. You just got to keep them. But I hope you guys enjoyed that. Again, later tonight, I'm probably going to put a video out talking about all the stuff that happened at the Combine today. Well, on that, guys, like usual, stay classy. And fins up.